kiss for you.
Wow. So today we're going to be checking out a couple of things. First off, I fixed my recording software, so now everything should be in 144 Hz. Hopefully this is a little bit smoother than it's usually been. Today we're going to be looking at the new Microsoft Edge browser and to see how it compares to Chrome, considering the new Microsoft Edge browser is now up to date with Chromium as its base, and so we're going to compare them to Chrome and see how it checks out. So first off, we're going to be looking at the design elements and then going into things like performance and overall usability. So right here is Chrome. As you can see, we'll go to a promotion from HP, why not? This is Chrome. As you can see, it has the arrow keys in this kind of layout with a circle address bar here, and then your extensions, and then a kind of simple layout that's already compact, and then your tabs at the top. We're comparing this by having similar tabs at the top as the other one, and here is Edge. So very similar, actually. If I flip between the two, it's kind of hard to tell. Pretty much the only difference in this thing is the base here, is these two are a little bit bigger. Like this side right here is bigger than this one is right here. Address bar is bigger as well, it's more flat. It has a highlighted domain, this one does not. And then on the side here, the extensions are more spread out than this one is right here. So this is kind of compact and a longer address bar, and this is a shorter address bar. And that has the extensions more spread out. And then it also has a profile thingy and a horizontal settings bar compared to a vertical one right here. So the settings are actually pretty similar to Chrome. So Chrome settings are, new tab, history, downloads, bookmarks, all that stuff. And then this is new tab, zoom is right here instead of before, and then it's favorites, which are qualified as bookmarks, history, downloads, apps, which are quite interesting. You can install these things as certain apps, extensions, prints, all that stuff. So that's pretty similar in both cases, which is pretty good. And all that stuff here. And then we have a favorite button. We went through these already. They're pretty similar. But one thing that's interesting, some special features. First off, I want to talk about how acceleration works with the mouse. So as you can see when I'm scrolling here, if I do a quick scroll right here, it has a very give and pull take type of feel. As you can see, it's pretty smooth, and that's why we have the 144 thing to show you that it's very smooth, very bounceful. It feels very very good. As you can see, this is Chrome. It's very hard to tell, but it is Chrome. And I do it again, and it's very choppy, right? It doesn't have the same feeling. I do this, and it stops instantly, or I start, and it feels very disconnected, versus this one, which I do that, and it feels very smooth and connected. So that's a good thing to know, just as a functional standpoint. A couple other interesting things. We have favorites, or similar interesting thing called apps. So what you can do is have an app, for instance, Gmail here, and I can install this site as an app on to the desktop. So if I just click this button here, I label it Gmail, I hit install, and then all of a sudden it's installed as an app. And I can close this, and I can go here, and I can here, and then I can see on my desktop here, if I search Gmail, it'll show up. There it is, Gmail app, and I click it, and then it brings up Gmail. So that's an interesting feature if you want to create different shortcuts to things, specifically within Gmail, as an app. So that's pretty neat. And if you want to get rid of it, you simply, what happened to my email? Oh no. If you want to get rid of it, you simply go to apps. Here you go, click on it, you hit manage apps, and then you can see all your apps. You can do this, remove, and now it removes it. So that's a pretty cool feature if you want to have shortcuts without having to go through the whole menu, because this is Edge, Microsoft thing. Now we're going to talk about extensions, which are pretty interesting. So unlike Chrome extensions, these extensions are quite a bit different. Chrome, what you can do is actually import your extensions from before, whatever's accessible from Microsoft Store and other sources gets put into here. So I didn't have to install any of these again. It automatically moved over, which is kind of neat. And the installed extensions are AdBlock Plus, Honey, and then from other sources, which are not directly from the store, they got some additions to Dashlane, Password Manager, and vidIQ, which is a YouTube tool, whatever. And you can find new extensions right here, which is quite neat. One thing I don't like about Chrome is that if you go over and try to look at extensions, you really can't. You can go more tools, extensions, but then it brings up this menu. But you can't actually go and find extensions from this menu, and there's no easy way to get to it. You have to go down here and open Chrome Store and then look for your extensions there. It's a little irritating a little bit to get to the extensions versus this, which is just simply right here, extensions, and it brings you to this menu. You can turn them off and on and all that stuff from here. You can then extensions, find new extensions, we'll click here, and it brings you to the Edge add-ons, which they're called, not extensions, but add-ons, and there's a bunch here, but not all of them will obviously transfer over. So this is in beta as well, so there might be some kinks and bugs or whatever. But ultimately, extensions work a little bit differently than you would usually expect them to work. So we have home, things like a VPN, dark reading. That's another thing, is that there is no themes currently for Microsoft Edge. It's either light or dark mode, which is something to note. So instead of having a bunch of different themes, like this isn't strictly dark mode. This is some type of theme. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's a certain type of theme. And it's installed here, and it's like different then. It's not just black or any of these. But yeah, themes is definitely a benefit of Chrome. You can have the different backgrounds and all that stuff. And Edge just has standard extensions like editors and ad blockers and that kind of thing. In order to change it to dark mode, you have to go through a bunch of steps that I'll show you in a moment. But yeah, so that's for extensions, which is kind of important. What extensions are available if you use that. Main reason people like Chrome is because of the extensions. So it's a library, it's growing, and it's definitely usable for different things. So that's important. There's collections, which is quite an interesting thing. So collections are a Microsoft Edge exclusive, and pretty much what you can do is gather and organize different web pages as your browser and use them and integrate with Microsoft products like Word, Excel, that kind of stuff. So if we start a new collection and we name it like test, I enter add content, you can drag an image or selected text to start a new collection. So I can add my page here. I'll do that, and I'll assign Microsoft add-on page, and this collection is effectively a little info packet, if you will, like a favorites type of thing. But then you can click over and hit either send to Excel, send to Word, open all, copy all. So let's try it, and you can also add a note as well. So if you add a note here, let's type in this is important for later. I can do that. There's a note here. You can check it off or not, delete it, that kind of stuff. Let's send to Word. Let's see what this does. So it's going to send to Word. It's going to open up the online version of Word right here, so it doesn't have to like open up as a program and take forever. And as you can see, this collection button, you can just add to it, and it pops up here, test, and it has the link to it. So this is a pretty neat feature for just collecting a bunch of info, and it's a better feature for research and data collection than sending yourself emails or whatever. I'm not sure the like complete point of a couple of these things, but it's definitely useful to have it. My bookmark bar is open for some reason. It's definitely useful to have it, so you can manage that kind of stuff. And yeah, you can just add things to collection by pressing this button here. So it's a fun feature: printing, sharing, reading aloud, more tools, the standard things that you might expect. One thing I want to talk about is in order to change, because it's default Bing, obviously, in order to change that, and also dark mode. So you go to prints, we have default mode. The system default is this bright color right here, so I can just set that to dark. Pretty simple. In order to get default engine to be Google, though, that was quite a task. You type in search engine within an address bar, and you click on the address bar, show me search and suggestions, boom. Search engine using the address bar, you type Google right here, and then you can say where to go search, and you can manage search, and then you can add or detract any of these you don't want. So like I never want to use Yahoo, so I can just remove, and then you're all good. So that's like the main info on this type of thing, and this is like their default. It's pretty interesting, and you can change that obviously between focused, which looks like this, inspirational, informational, or custom. I'm going to leave it on focused because I think that looks best. Use Bing on the default, which is kind of irritating, but other than that, everything else seems to be fine. Your bookmarks transfer as well. And then you can scroll down and you have things like the MSN feed and the New Hampshire weather and stocks and that kind of stuff. So it's a fun little collage, if you will, of that. Next thing we're going to talk about, after we've gone through all the, we'll just get rid of these things here, because we're going to be talking about next is performance. How does it perform? First thing I want to check performance. Now, to be fair, I am recording this, so it's going to take a little bit longer than intended to like get all the correct data, but at least we'll start with the performance data, like general, like how does it perform to Chrome. A couple of comparisons here. So the first one we want to talk about is just general like performance, like stats, hard stats. And first thing is side by side. So this year's Edge, this year's Chrome. It was like a speedometer test, which measured speed and how well it can open and deter application stuff. I got 74, and this got 67. So it was a little bit better in that case. Next, wrong one. Next one, we're going to be looking at a Jetstream 2, which is a JavaScript and WebAssembly benchmark that focuses on advanced web applications. So how quickly something can work, how smoothly it runs, that kind of stuff. And in this case, Microsoft Edge being on the left got a considerably higher score of 90 than 86, and in some of the tests, as you can see, 3D Cube got 207 versus 180, so there's some differences in 3D applications that got much higher. Next thing we're going to do is motion work, which is a graphics displaying thing. So if you ever have you're developing anything for the web, which is what Chrome is useful for, is like web development and that kind of stuff. It works with a lot of different things. Microsoft Edge does as well. And what's interesting here with sort of the graphic things is that this got a 361, which is considerably higher than the 322, but also has a less margin of error, which is quite important. And then you can see the certain tests for the different things. This took about a little bit to do a couple times, but yeah, so this is generally better as well. But these don't really mean much to the average person. These are for like developers or whatever that use these certain type of features. But what's really important is how much RAM it takes up. Chrome is known for being a very big RAM hog, and how much RAM it actually ends up taking up. And so in this instance, we can see, as I originally thought, it took up, make sure the tabs are all the same. We are missing mail, so let's get Gmail up real quick. One thing I want to test out is with the same tabs how much RAM it takes up, and that's pretty easy to check. What's not as easy is the fact that I thought it was, this uses 25% less RAM, because that's why I did my comparison beforehand, was it was 25% less RAM. It's not as the case anymore because of how Microsoft decides to split things up. So right now Chrome is using 1.7 gigabytes of RAM, and Microsoft Edge is using 1.1. So this is a fantastic example of where I originally thought, hey, it was using less RAM, and in this case, yeah, it's using less RAM. This is 1.1. Add this one is 1.2, 3, 4, 5. So we're ultimately looking at like 1.5 versus 1.7, but this fluctuates. This is only has 10 open for some reason, and this is 21. So that's just how they like function type of thing. But what's interesting is that sometimes these flip. This can be, Microsoft Edge can be higher and Chrome can be lower. One thing that's a little annoying is that this is obviously split up into multiple segments. So it's not as easy to like get rid of all of them. If you got rid of this, it doesn't get rid of these. But yeah, so the memory is kind of important. Also another thing people have been kind of asking or interested in, RAM is supposed to be used as much as humanly possible. That's how it's like a form of storage, right? RAM is usually a form of storage, and as much of that you can put in RAM as you can is probably better than any other form. So if you're trying to like say, oh, it's using too much RAM, usually the only time it's a problem is if it's hogging RAM from something else that could be using it, and then it slows down your computer. But shouldn't necessarily be the case at this point. So I think that's everything we need to cover here. We got the general layout, the favorites, history, some unique features of Microsoft Edge and how it compares. I've been using this for about a week now, and I can really say I enjoy using Microsoft Edge. Now, to be fair, that is because it's based on the Chromium setup, and that's why it's using so much RAM and has certain features that are almost identical to Chrome, because it's using the same like base code, which is important to note. But ultimately I feel like it's a very good contender to Chrome, and if it's by default, I don't think many people will necessarily uninstall it or not use it when getting a new computer, as they did with the old Edge. So yeah, if you enjoy this video, you want to see more of these comparison or different style videos, then make sure you watch some stuff, and yeah, I'll see everyone in the next video.